What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Cinema Center at South by Southwest 2026. I got another Collider interview for you. This one is with the team behind Dead Eyes. Congratulations. I'm so eager to dig into the process of making this movie. I've got a million questions. First, though, I know what your movie is about. A lot of our viewers are first going to learn about it through our interview, so I must ask you, can you give everybody a brief synopsis of your film?
Brief synopsis, and excuse my voice, it's deep into South by Southwest. We've been partying a little hard.
You should be running around promoting your movie. This is the right thing.
Exactly. No, so brief synopsis, Sean and his friends go into the Australian bush looking for his missing father, who went missing after the death of his young daughter. And this camping trip sort of turns awry when he starts seeing, his little dead sister around this bushland, and it's all shot in first person.
Yeah.
POV.
We're going to talk about everything that goes into that incredible rig that I saw. But first, I want to pose this question to all of you because I love all forms of storytelling. The horror genre is my absolute favorite, so I think about things like this a lot. Can you each tell me the first horror movie you saw that made you stop and say to yourself, like, I got to do something like that one day?
Oh, look, I'll tell you the first, and this isn't a horror movie, but the first thing that scarred me was Dobby from Harry Potter.
Oh, no!
I was so scared of Dobby that I actually went the opposite, and I was like, I'm never doing a scary movie. Like, put me in the most happy movie ever. But yeah, Dobby scarred me for a while, but I think I grew out of that, so now I'm happy to be in the genre.
The genre is happy to have you.
I would say The Grudge and The Ring. Yeah, those classics. I couldn't sleep for, I think, months afterwards. I was just scared of the dark forever.
You're not alone on that.
I think mine's similar to Alea's in that it's not a traditional horror movie, but the original black and white Lord of the Flies really scarred me. We watched it in English class, and then I was terrified of deserted islands, of planes, and that has what stuck with me. But now I would love to do a film on a deserted island. I think that sounds like paradise, so yeah.
Yeah, mine's also not traditional. It's the Scream movies, and I watched them when I was really young. Sorry, they're great as well. And then when I saw everyone on Halloween wearing like the ghost face mask, I was so freaked out.
You're too young for that, hey.
Okay.
No, but all of you said movies that scared you, but what inspired you to make horror movies? I could list ones that scared the shit out of me, but
give me an example of each.
The Descent was one that did both, and that is one that is such masterfully, the scares in that, like any horror movie fan, anyone who wants to make a horror movie, just watch that.
True classic. I have a Descent poster hanging on my wall that I absolutely cherish. And
a great poster.
Such a good poster. Cool. All right, let's dig into your movie. Specifically, I'll start with the POV style of it all. I guess the first thing I have to ask you is why go that route? Because it is a cool looking movie, but if you do something like that, you want to make sure it's necessary to the story you're telling and the themes you want to explore. So what was it about the story and the style that made you think they'd be the perfect pair?
Well, number one, it's a pain in the ass to do. So we really had to have a good reason to do it. And I think with the whole story of the perspective of a soul moving through the afterlife into a body, I think that was kind of like the basis of, okay, now it makes sense that we're doing it this way. And so, and also having a restricted narrative in a horror film, I think just working with the genre, it is so exciting to have something that's completely new and enhances it like that hasn't been done before. So just on a genre basis, not even on a storytelling basis to start with, it's a brilliant idea.
I'm so happy to hear you start by saying that it wasn't easy because, and I'll get into the difference between what you're doing and found footage in a minute, but I feel like a lot of people out there look at found footage and they're like, well, you just point a camera and you shoot this. It's so much easier than making a regular movie, a traditionally shot movie, and it's very much not.
You can't hide anything.
Exactly. Especially in your movie where you're out and about and you're constantly turning the camera.
Well, we have a guy wearing the camera. I'm sorry to break the mystique of it, but we have a guy wearing the camera. We have a guy wearing the guts of the camera. We have the guy, Ryan, who's playing Sean, doing the voice of Sean. And those three, along with, boom operators, trying to navigate these 360-degree movements over like 6-minute takes. It's fun and it's also painful.
Can you each tell me something new you had to do, or maybe like a challenge of shooting in this format that you had to adapt to that might surprise people out there?
Looking into the camera first and foremost, the most obvious one, I feel. But like I would always see my reflection in the camera and I'd just be looking at myself and it was a bit haunting.
I can't even imagine how difficult it is to stop thinking about that.
It's weird.
I honestly think for me, I was thinking about it and the pacing was something new that, especially my character, you'll see I have a few scenes where I come in at the very end. And there's one where they started at the bottom of the hill and I was sitting at the top and I'd have to wait to hear them like crunch up this certain bit of grass. And I was like waiting there, like sitting fake reading a book. And I was like, oh my God, I need to get up now because like we are doing these long one-ers and you'll notice like pacing is such a huge thing when you're covering so much ground and you're trying to get these lines in and stuff. But that was definitely something I think we all had to kind of figure out and like work with each other on, which was really cool and fun. And obviously the camera's heavy and you're going up a hill. So it's like what could take a person 10 seconds might take them like 5 minutes and you've just got to be ready to go once that camera hits you. So definitely that. I think
Pacing is such a good thing to emphasize too, because when you're doing a movie, like you can't rely on edits the way you usually would.
Oh my gosh. The writing process, knowing that you're going to have to go into it without being able to make those edits for pace, nightmare.
As an actor, you're taught to completely ignore the camera. But obviously in this aspect, we have to look and act directly towards the camera. And for me, it was endowing a relationship with the camera as a person, my fiance. So it was like, instead of ignoring the camera, fall in love with the camera. You know, he's the person that I'm caring for, putting him on this journey, unfortunately, for Sean. So that was a challenge, and to separate the camera and Sean's voice, that was a point that was quite challenging because I have to turn them into two people. So especially for like scenes that are quite emotional or really heightened, you want to talk to the person that you're hearing the energy from in order to connect with them. But he's coming from over here, but I'm connecting with the camera over there. So it's like a split focus, but that was very fun and exciting to do.
And kissing the camera.
Oh, yes.
And kissing the camera.
Honestly, I was wondering.
I took some workshopping.
Yeah. For the intimate scenes, especially in the smaller spaces, we had a scene where we were in a tent and Ryan was outside the tent and it was just me and the camera operator inside. But even just then, like kissing the camera lens is the eye. So you kind of have to go like sort of cheek to cheek, a bit down and then just be like, mwah.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a few challenges come to mind, but I guess the main one is the lack of presence that you have in a scene. Like I was on set every day, like in the scene basically, but there's, the camera operator and the camera's assistant like in front of me. No one can look at me. There's that element that's removed, like all the eye contact is gone, which is so important traditionally. There's also cases where I'm in the room over watching everything on a monitor and performing that way and shouting my lines so that they can hear me, or trying not to shout because that's the dialogue we're capturing and you've got to not make it sound weird by yelling. And so, yeah, I guess just navigating some of those things is the tricky one.
Endlessly fascinated by this process. I have to start winding down with you, but I didn't want to skip this particular question because I find this to be a really interesting challenge here, and also because I brought up found footage before. Your movie is not found footage. This is a POV film. Can you tell our audience a little bit about what you wanted to do to differentiate POV from what we traditionally know to be found footage?
Well, number one, we picked a cinema camera and a lens choice that somewhat mirrored the eye. And we made sure you weren't getting any of that grime or that shake. It was like it's it's within someone's head. And also the sound design lends itself to that. You're hearing what he's hearing, but also you're getting, those sort of like, I don't want to spoil too much, but like the whispers, the hallucinations. I mean, found footage, you don't get that. You don't get his hallucinations. You don't get his dreams. And I feel like being able to do it in POV allowed us to like really get inside the character. So it's like a movie where the conduit is so pure and the audience can really get into it.
Again, fascinated by it. I want to see more movies try to tell a story from that particular perspective. Also, because that rig is just like and it feels like it's something that can be replicated on other sets and should maybe be encouraged to be used on other sets.
Mate, we're trendsetters here.
For real.
Shout out to our cinematographer, Julian Panetta. He's like maestro of figuring that out.
Something else. I'm going to say huge congratulations on your movie, and thank you so much for coming by and sharing some of your experience making it with us.
Thank
you so much.
Cheers. Thank you.